I was meant to have my penguin for this one and I forgot. It's fine. Oh, there we go. Wonderful. So last week I did a poll to find out what I should do next on my reviews, and you guys said that I should do the iPad Air 3rd generation. And before you ask, yes, I do use a case on this. I just took it off for the video purposes. Plus, I really like how the space grey looks, and I kind of miss the colour, and it looks really good in the ring light. Wow. And as always, I'm going to start off with the screen. Oh my god, there's a lot of fingerprints. I'm so professional at this. Also, ASMR. That probably just sounds wrong, doesn't it? Anyway, this is a 10.5 inch Retina display that runs... that runs at 60 Hertz. So it's not up there with some of the best iPad Pro model screens, which has ProMotion in it, but it still is a really good screen. If you're watching any media or if you're playing any games on it, it does look really good on it. I'm quite surprised, if I'm honest, because I thought when I first kind of saw it, I was a bit like meh, but as time's gone by, it's really, really nice. I'll tell you what, a bit of a throwback for you, unless you've got the iPhone SE, in which case don't look. It's still got the Touch ID, which is incredibly fast and incredibly reliable as well. Next up is the speakers, and I'll tell you what, I'm really impressed with these. These get super loud, and they are really bassy as well. The only time that I notice that they're a bit meh, which again is possibly the word of the video. The only time they kind of get a bit weird is when you're listening to, let's say, drum and bass. That's when they can get a bit tinny if it's at the highest volume. But unless you're listening to that sort of stuff, you're not really going to notice it. And I am a little bit disappointed that it does only have 2 speakers on it instead of 4, which the Pro models do carry. But again, I'm not really that bothered about it. You hardly ever cover it up. Other than that, they just do really well. And I'll tell you what it is good for, PUBG. Because if you're sneaking around, and that was my chair, if you're sneaking around and you hear someone coming towards you, you're going to shoot him and win. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. And what's it because of? This iPad Air, that's what. What am I doing with my life? So up next is the battery, which seems to be the low point of every review that I've done so far. And it kind of continues with this. It's not a bad battery and it's not a good battery at the same time. But I think it might just be me. So I use this iPad for listening to music. I use it for watching like Netflix, Disney Plus, that sort of thing. And sometimes it can do really well. It can go through pretty much a whole day and still have about 40% left on it. And then other times it will die before the day is over. Most people will hardly use it the amount I do. A lot of people will just use it for their online shopping or simple photo editing, and it will most likely last the whole day. I just do a lot of media watching, listening to music, and I play a lot of games on it as well. So that's probably why the battery is a bit meh. Oh, and again. And I suppose it does differ from person to person, mainly being because a lot of people won't use heavier games like I am. If you've got phones, if you've got laptops, if you've got iPads, I say iPads because tablets don't really exist, it's just iPads. A lot of people aren't going to use the same apps that I am. As I say, a lot of people are probably going to be using it for a lot lighter stuff like online shopping. That sort of thing isn't going to drain your battery. It's just my experience on it hasn't been great. But again, I am a bit of a heavy user. I like it when my voice breaks as well, it's really cool. So up next is the camera.
Yes.
No.
The camera on this sucks. Again, for basic usage, it's going to be fine. But when you've got an 8 megapixel back-facing camera and a 7 megapixel HD FaceTime camera, in 2019, I kind of expected a bit better. Especially when you've got cameras like the Samsungs and obviously the Google Pixel, which have incredible front-facing cameras. Why in the world is this using a 7 megapixel HD FaceTime camera? I really don't understand it. Especially when you have cameras like, even back in 2013, you had the Nokia Lumia 1020, throwback by the way, which had a 41 megapixel back-facing camera. I know it's back-facing, but at that time, that's 2013. You know, you can probably fit the same technology into the front of this camera and it would look incredible. But no, they still stuck with the 7 megapixel front-facing camera on this one. Yeah, they did, yeah. It's still slightly better than all of those CCTV footages where it's like, have you seen this man? And it's just like a block of pixels and you're like, yes, I saw him in Minecraft, hello. But now I'm going to go back to a positive, and that is the performance. And oh my god, this iPad flies. It's really surprising that it's still as fast as it is, and it's 2 processors behind. So we're now on the A14 Bionic chip. This was made on the Apple A12 Bionic chip. And as I say, even though it's still a year old and it's still on 2 processors behind it still managed to do multitasking really well. It still manages opening apps fast and playing your games really well. I recently saw a video from Jonathan Morrison editing a video on his iPad Pro using LumaFusion, an app on the iPads, and I thought, let's try it on this. I know the iPad Pro is going to have a much better processor in comparison to this, but let's give it a try. And I was really surprised. The scrubbing was a little bit laggy, but in terms of exporting it and just overall usage, it was actually really good. So if you're going to do like some basic video editing, even with iMovie, this is so good. I know the basic iPad is probably still good in iMovie, but this is incredible. And it is running the current version of iOS. No, it's not. It's iPadOS 14.2 as of recording this video. And it's doing really well. You know, just iPadOS has made it a much more seamless experience. It's really good. I still am a bit annoyed that they still haven't made an iPad version of Instagram app, but come on. So that brings me to the final thoughts of this iPad. And is it still worth the money this year? Yes, I would say it is. If you can find it for a bit cheaper, it's 100% worth the money. For the amount of money that it's worth currently at retail price, which is £580 for the base model at 64 gig and £712 for the 256 gig model, I think the 64 gig definitely worth it. The 256 version definitely not. You can get the 11-inch iPad Pro 2020 edition with 128 gig version for £739. So for a bit of extra money, and I know it's got half the storage of that, you're getting a much more powerful iPad with a better camera, a better battery, and a better processor. It doesn't make sense to buy the 256 version, but definitely the 64 gig is definitely worth. How many times have I said definitely then? Is absolutely worth your consideration. I've lost my train of thought now. Isn't that surprising? Oh, this iPad does come in 3 colours. It comes in gold, it comes in silver, and it comes in the space grey version, which is the one that I've got. And of course you can get the standard Apple accessories with it. You can get the typing keyboard, which is a bit expensive. You can get the Apple Pencil first generation, which is a bit expensive. You can't use the 2nd generation Apple Pencil with it, which seems a bit strange, but the 1st generation is still really good. If you're drawing a lot on these sort of devices, the Apple Pencil was definitely worth a consideration of purchasing. I forgot what I was going to say. Actually, no, what I'm going to say about this iPad is I am really surprised how thin this thing is. It's 6.1 millimeters. How? And it's £1. It's literally so light. I can see where it gets its Air name now, but still. And I'll tell you what, a bit of a throwback here as well. There's a headphone jack. There's a bloody headphone jack in there. Anyway, that is it for this review. And I hope you guys really enjoyed this one. I enjoyed making this one. So if you did enjoy this video, please feel free to like. And if you didn't, comment down below on why. And I'll read them whilst I cry myself to sleep at night. Dun, 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 dun. But if you did like it, please make sure to subscribe and press that little grey bell icon. I will get that word right by the time I've done my 700th review to be notified when I upload a brand new video. But until then, guys, make sure you all stay safe out there, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye all!